Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Strategic Command World War I, our play-by-email game, against Alex Berry, the board game designer behind High Treason, the Trial of Louis Riel, and the Corrupt Bargain, the 1824 US presidential election. This episode is returning to our grand campaign, playing as the Entente powers, with Alex playing as the Central powers. So far, the Western Front has not gone well at all for the Germans. They have been stymied basically along the Belgian-French border and have made no real progress into France. In the east, there's been a bloodbath around Lemberg, but the Austrians have begun to fall back. We did encircle the city last turn. The Russians have lost a lot of men, but frankly, so have the Germans and the Austrians. And Serbia has largely been unchanged, although there is a preponderance of Austrian forces near Serbia. And that's the situation we find ourselves as we move into the fall of 1914, and we're going to begin to see the replay here. Naval's been mostly quiet in the North Atlantic, a little bit of sub-action, and quite a bit of fighting in the Adriatic. So he does have heavy artillery, and he's pounding the heck out of Belgrade. He is going to try and attack Belgrade. A lot of units are attacking Belgrade, and it held up surprisingly well. They did take 60% casualties, but they didn't break. Meanwhile, it looks like he's going to try and knock out this detachment in Belgium, and he did, but that didn't really matter. He's going to try and break the troops out of Lemberg by the looks of it. They damaged one of our corps there, but they didn't manage to get out. I'm curious if he bought that artillery or if he had it available to him as like an event. I'm wondering if, because I think you get like a, do you want heavy artillery to crush Liege? But overall, I would say that turn was not too bad. Von Spee defeats the Royal Navy at the Battle of Coronel. The Austrian and New Zealand Army Corps is now ready to sail to Europe with a decision that needs to be taken as to its destination. The activities of the German Pacific Squadron may impede their progress, but all being well, the Anzacs should arrive in Europe in mid-December. The soldiers are all volunteers and brimming with enthusiasm for the struggle ahead. Would you like them to sail directly to Bristol, or would you like them to have disembark in Egypt? Egypt obviously is where they went to serve at Gallipoli. Okay. I would say send them to Egypt. German naval units operating in the Pacific and South Atlantic are affecting our trade and income. Rear Admiral Craddock's squadron has been defeated at Coronel. What do we do? To ensure the swift resolution of this problem, it is recommended we send the Invincible battlecruiser to the South Atlantic to deal with the von Spee's squadron. Otherwise, she will deploy at Plymouth. If you say yes, the Invincible will go to the Falklands. Providing she survives the engagement, she'll return to the UK. I don't think there's any scenario where she wouldn't survive an engagement. You're talking about a 12-inch gun battle cruiser with a speed advantage against a 8-inch gun armored cruiser. 30% chance that she's crippled? Realistically, that number should be like 5%. Okay. Failing to act will reduce national morale by 500 points. Yeah, let's send them. Meanwhile, we do get the Tiger. The Tigger. Another battle cruiser joining the fleet. We got the Agincourt last turn. Meanwhile, they did defeat the detachment west of Antwerp, but still, we are dug in with the Royal Marines hugging the coast. It's raining in the Western Front, which I think precludes much offensive action. I suppose we could try and cripple the Third Corps. I don't think he's going to attack with it, though. How much money do we have? 192, 93. 93, that's it? For the British? We need more. I mean, we need... Because we need to be doing research. The French and British need to be doing command and control. I don't have enough money to be doing most of this research. Gas production also, like, we don't have anything... The British are at least investing 600 on a variety of things. I think some of that was prepaid for. The French are investing, like, nothing. Or do we have any heavy stuff coming? We got some planes coming in May of 15, some heavy artillery coming in February of 15 for the French. That'll be nice. The British are getting some artillery in March of 15. And then some additional ships and headquarters later. Alright, should we reinforce all these French units? I guess the British ones, yes, although they lose their experience star. So one of these guys is just below a star of experience. One of them is almost 2. Alright, we'll reinforce everybody we can. There's no upgrades yet, because we haven't done anything tech-wise. That leaves the French with basically no money. Hopefully, I mean, it's raining, so I don't really want to attack in the rain. I think a rain attack would be a bad idea, even if maybe I could chance destroy that unit. Let's force march these guys north. They lose morale, but I'm less worried about that. Can we see what's out here? So they got cavalry behind here, and they've got a headquarters back here. Do we have any intel about what's back by Liege? Oh no, fighters! Alright, so they have quite a bit of troops. They've got quite a bit of depth here on the Western Front still. Probably more troops than we have. But I moved the 3rd Corps up here to guard against a breakthrough in Belgium. I don't think a breakthrough is likely other times. Also, I think he's probably moved most of his artillery to the Eastern Front to deal with us out there. Let's reinforce this 4th Corps. We'll move the cavalry. To me, the cavalry might actually make more sense just to send to deal with the Ottomans. Like, that feels like the place they'd be more valuable, but we'll see. Maybe we'll make that change. The Ottomans aren't even in the war yet. So I think that pretty much does it for... I'm not going to do anything in the North Atlantic. I think that pretty much does it for the Western Front. Darn, I was hoping we could do something against these troops in Ragusa. But it seems like all we're doing is taking casualties as I try and take this port town. The 2nd Army in Belgrade is pretty badly beat up. The weather's bad. So we'll reinforce these guys. I don't like that the morale is so low and their entrenchments are basically all gone. We're going to launch a spoiling attack on these supporting units. He did bring some German units down, which is not great. But let's launch a spoiling attack on these troops here and here to try and weaken his ability to take Belgrade. 2 spoiling attacks there. So these guys are down to 50% strength and 60% strength. And actually, let's swap the Ushit's unit out. Darn. I was hoping to do some more damage to these guys. All I did was give them more experience. How's the diplomatic situation with Bulgaria? Alright, they're 34%, but they're not likely to join anytime soon. So even if the Ottomans join the war, they won't have a direct border to Serbia yet. Meanwhile, the 2nd Siberian Corps, the Russian front also, we need to do stuff. We've got 300 points on the Russian front, so we can spend some on reinforcements. Stanislaw is a national morale objective, which is interesting. Can we take Lemberg this turn? Okay. Yeah, let's swap these guys around. I have actually a stronger unit on the front against Premysl now. And Lemberg is ours. That is a national morale objective, so good result there. Stanislaw is also a national morale objective. I'm worried about the casualties we're going to take taking it. Damn it. These guys are going to be vulnerable to an Austrian counterattack now for sure. There we go. Alright, so we took Stanislaw as well, so Lemberg and Stanislaw fell. We did suffer, I would say, not trivial casualties, and the enemy may try and counterattack there, although I don't know if he's got the strength to do so. This corps here, I wouldn't want to attack anything with it at 2 strength. I don't know what else he might have back here. We could try and recon it, but nothing, according to what we can see. Premysl would be tempting to attack as well, if we thought we could have success there. Okay. What's the supply situation going to look like? Manageable. You know, one of the interesting things about, and actually Lemberg is a supply center too, which is nice. One of the interesting things about the World War I game is because the distances are so much shorter, it does make pushing supplies forward a little bit easier. So Lemberg is going to have a little bit less supply because it's damaged, but it should allow us to operate a little bit better moving forward here. Alright. I expect a counterattack against the Don Cossacks here in Gorlice, because we are now threatening to cut off these troops here near the pass of the Tartars, and also breaking through this pass to drive on Budapest. I would think he's got to pull troops back. You would think he's got to pull troops off the Eastern Front to deal with this. You would think. Or off the Western Front to deal with this. We're going to get 2 national morale objectives for Russia this turn. Hopefully that helps boost their national morale above 94%. We also should see the Austrian national morale drop pretty considerably. Premysl is now at risk. This corps down here is in no shape to fight. This corps is in no shape to fight. He's got a full strength corps here. Damaged. I think this corps down here is damaged. If not, still just, you know, maybe 1, 2, 3 full strength cores. I mean, we broke through out of Tarnow. Again, this cavalry may die, but if it sucks all the oxygen out of the room and he moves that way, it may make an assault on Premzel possible. The main problem is I'm probably going to have to spend another turn reinforcing some of these Russian units that are taking casualties. I don't think I want to assault Premzel with a single unit. I think it's better to wait. So he's got... We'll pull these guys back just temporarily so they're in entrenchments, but he's got at least 2 German units here near Krakow, so he's already deploying some German forces in this area. He's got a garrison unit here at Katowice. Entrench this cavalry here. Can we move this detachment forward? There's got to be a difference. I guess a detachment can entrench and have a full strength of 10, whereas a garrison can not, I guess. Oh, I made a mistake entrenching that. I only did 2 sides for that detachment. Should have done 3. Alright, we're gonna extend our line. Crap, they can't entrench. I used too many movement points. Okay. Trying to advance slowly. I don't like that I've got a detachment on my front line here, but advancing slowly into the German front near Königsberg. It does actually shorten our front a bit. In theory, that should allow us to build some depth. He could go for this isolated Russian corps here. How much is it to operate these guys? Put those guys on the front there. And then we do have some additional troops we need to bring up from sort of the Moscow area. Trying to see where it makes the most sense to operate them to. I don't want to operate them adjacent to an enemy unit. That usually makes them very vulnerable to counterattack. Okay. I'd rather they help with the assault on Premzel. Maybe we do operate them to the front and just risk that they don't attack us directly. They're going to be exposed, though. That's going to be a tempting attack for him. Where are they least exposed? This is probably the best spot. They're in the rear and they're... How much money do the Russians have left? 150. That's 130. Okay, we can spend this to move a detachment in also. So we'll have a double line in East Prussia if he wants to attack there. Almost, anyway. So yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see what he does. Is he going to try and defend? I mean, we took Stanislaw. We took Lemberg. Those are 2 national morale objectives. We are threatening Premzel, which is a fortified town. Krakow is vulnerable, although he's increasing the number of German units there. Does he pull troops out of Serbia? He's got a very heavy concentration of troops in Serbia. If he can win there, then he can... You know, if he can take Belgrade, that's going to be a big hit to us. He might be able to if he's got if he's got more artillery. Their entrenchment's low, their morale is low. He's got 5 or 6 units that can attack simultaneously there. The main hope for us is that he spends this turn reinforcing, because the 3rd and 4th corps are at 8. The 15th Corps is at 6, and the 12th Corps is at 5. Like, I can't imagine those guys are going to have a ton of oomph. He could swap in the 8th Corps up from Valjevo also. So he certainly could overwhelm a tired, and even though they've reinforced, an under-entrenched unit in Belgrade. In which case we'll be in a pretty tight spot in Serbia. That being said, and that'll free up a couple of units also, but I guess the question is, how urgent is the situation in Galatia if we're really threatening to break through the pass of the Tartars, if he's got nothing in this area, and he sees all these troops weighing down on him and understrength units blocking us, does he make a rash move to reinforce? Like, I can't imagine he's going to pull troops out of Königsberg with seeing what's approaching in Eastern Prussia. So I don't know. Meanwhile, we've got 120 points left for Russia. We're going to spend... Oh, I thought I had an... Oh, I'm not on Russia. 127 points for Russia. We'll drop that mostly into infantry weapons. We're already researching infantry warfare. The Germans are certainly already at level 1 infantry warfare because the Western allies are. But we're researching that, and then infantry weapons also to keep our troops on par with the enemy. We've got 29 points left for Serbia. I don't think we can buy anything with that. And I don't think there's anything to upgrade or reinforce down there after all the movements we made this turn. So, yeah. It would be great for the Italians to come in at this point. Just from a basing point of view, it would be a lot easier. Because he could be reinforcing his ships, although if I'm Austria-Hungary, I'm not spending money on my navy right now. And it doesn't look like he is either. Hey, we did a little damage to one of his destroyers there, though, in port. Okay. Maybe we can sink a destroyer in port slowly. What's the diplomacy situation for Italy? They're at 0% either way. Huh. Okay. And the Ottomans are where? 99. So the Ottomans are going to enter in the war next turn, probably. We do have the Indian Colonial Corps, which is already deployed to the border. If we get the Anzac, we get like 2 more corps down here. Maybe we can push into Jerusalem and do some damage against the Ottomans down there. I don't know. I don't think we're going to do a Gallipoli. Might be fun, but I don't think we will. Do we even have the amphibious tech to do it? We do have level 1 amphibious, so we could theoretically do it. I don't know. I'm guessing he's going to mine that up and make that hard. Said El Bar and Gallipoli would have to be the objectives for the landing, and I would assume he would have considerable forces there. But we'll see. Where's Greece, by the way? Are they going to open up another front? No. Not likely anytime soon. Okay. Alright, well I think that's it for this turn. Let's go ahead and send it back to him. The Americans, I would really like the Americans to get to 100 MPPs so I can drop that into command and control. Get them some R&D going, but I don't think they're going to rush to war either. He hasn't been doing a ton of commerce warfare in the North Atlantic. French have 26 units. The British have 15, so that's 41. The Serbians have 11. The Russians have 54. The Germans are at 46, and the Austro-Hungarians are at 20. The Ottomans will add 10 more unless anything else mobilizes that we don't see. MPPs. Not as bad of a turn for the Germans. The Austrians still lost more than they can afford. The British basically lost nothing. The French basically lost nothing. The Russians lost a little more, basically what they earned this turn. Serbians lost considerably more. But again, income, considering relative incomes. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this turn. Let's go ahead and end the turn, see if any events pop up. The loss of grain from Galatia leads to hunger in Austria-Hungary. Austro-Hungarian morale drops due to the fall of Lemberg. Wow, that was a big hit on their national morale. Indian Cavalry Corps arrives in Egypt. We get a garrison in Kuwait. UK mobilizes its English garrisons in Egypt. Russian forces are mobilizing in the Caucasus. He's going to definitely outnumber us on the Ottoman front, especially since we deployed 2 Caucasian corps to the Eastern Front, so we may have to operate some of those Russian units out. But the Ottomans are mobilizing for war throughout the Middle East. The Ottoman Navy is also mobilizing for war, and the Ottoman Empire joins the Central Powers. The fall of Lemberg encourages Romania to swing toward the Entente. Norway complains at Entente attacks on their merchantmen. The Ottoman Empire is now at war with the Entente. Indian troops seize Basra. French increases its arms production in the southwest. Indian forces suffer casualties seizing Basra. A typhus epidemic breaks out along the Ottoman forces in the Caucasus. They actually have quite a few troops on the Caucasus front, so we're going to have to be careful with that. Kars is unoccupied. I didn't realize the corps I pulled out was in Kars. They may get a free national morale objective right off the bat. Russian trade can no longer pass through the Dardanelles. Sydney sinks the Emden. Jihad against the Entente. Okay. Well, it'll be an interesting turn to see what the what he does. I kind of think we might lose Kars in the Caucasus, but we'll see. But that's going to do it for this turn. I think I'm going to bundle this with another one. So we will continue this episode in a moment. Alright, let's go ahead and load the second turn of the day. See what Alex has in store for us. We'll see if Belgrade manages to hold and if we can continue the momentum that we have in Galatia, because we've been doing very well there. We had bad weather. If he has better weather, he may go back on the offensive in the Western Front, too. Okay, so he is solidifying his front in the mountains there. Meanwhile, there was at least one attack launched in eastern Prussia against the Russians there. It looks like he's reinforcing in front of Belgrade and bringing in multiple German corps. You can see there's 3 German corps there. Meanwhile, he did take Kars in the Caucasus, which is not great news for us. But at least there's going to be a 3-corps assault on Belgrade, all German soldiers. I think that's bad news for the Serbians. I think Belgrade may fall next turn. Not a ton of fighting. He did use the Navy to bombard Memel. The loss of Kars reduces Russian national morale. Winston Churchill argues that were we to capture Gallipoli, this would deliver a very damaging blow to Ottoman morale. Okay. Now that the Ottoman Empire has joined the Central Powers, our position in Egypt could come under threat. The best way to strengthen our position there would be to send General Sir Ian Hamilton to command in Egypt. Providing General Hamilton with a logistical support, yes, we will do that. We need a headquarters there. I'm glad that I moved the Indian Colonial Corps to Egypt. Okay. These guys low on supply? Like, what's the deal there? Okay, we can entrench here. So we've got an entrenchment along the whole front in the Sinai. We'll operate Hamilton forward here to be based out of Port Said. Our supply situation isn't great here. I'm not sure what I can do to fix that. I was hoping we could advance through the Sinai and into Palestine, but it looks like the Ottomans may be too strong there already for us. Meanwhile, the fall of Kars kind of sucks. Batnum will go ahead and entrench facing south. It's another national morale objective. We only have a detachment there. What's the supply situation here? So we attack the lead force at Kars. It's a national morale objective, but we can't take it back for national morale? Operate this Russian corps forward. I'm not sure where to. What's the supply situation here? 7 and 8. Irvin is not a national morale, and they really can't advance anywhere even if they take Irvin. So we'll move to Alexandropol. So we've got 2 corps blocking the advance toward Tiflis down here in the south. And then Batnum just has the 1 unit, but we'll see if he tries to move on it. I meant to do the Western Front first. I'm curious about... Do we have mines now? We do have 2. I'd be curious about laying mines in near Cuxhaven or Wilhelmshaven. We don't know where the enemy fleet is, but if he did move a battleship off Memel over here, maybe the fleet isn't deployed? You know. Maybe it's deployed in the east? I don't know. I don't know what what to do on the Western Front. We kind of took the turn off, and now I'm just sort of inclined to sit in the entrenchments, wait for them to come to me. We do have good weather. Can these guys not jump on transports? Okay. We're going to swing these transports to the Middle East. Hopefully there's no subs between us and them, but I'm going to send the 4th Corps to the Middle East to help against the Ottomans. Also send the RN Marines there too. I'm assuming there's no enemy warships between us and them, but 2 additional, a division and a corps should give us a better chance, and that should, this headquarters should be able to cover all of them, I think. Do we want to try and hit the troops, the 5th Corps up here? Hit them with the Belgians first. Swing the British down in there. There we go. Well, I didn't want to take the 7 casualties that we, or the 3 casualties that we did in the 3rd Corps, but we did at least manage to destroy a German corps here on the Western Front. Our own troops may be vulnerable to a counterattack. So let's attack the next unit and line the 3rd Corps. Okay. Swing these guys around. Alright. So we do have a few units that are below full strength. Is it worth moving these guys forward into this salient? I'm assuming Antwerp isn't unoccupied. Let's move. Alright, let's hit this corps, the 7th Corps. Kind of at the elbow of Verdun. Okay, we'll pull these guys back. Nice! And we destroyed that German corps in the Ardennes. So 2 German corps down on the Western Front. 1 at 50%. Let's do this. Four action points, so I probably can't advance and attack simultaneously with those guys. Okay, that attack did not go well. It actually would perhaps be why, because now we can advance adjacent to Brussels without putting any of our units into a salient? At least, yeah, in theory. It's probably a little too late at this point. I've already moved. The relevant units. Oh. This move there, this moves there. Except I can't move and entrench these guys, because they already fought. Do we want to move a cavalry unit? Because I could potentially destroy a 3rd German Corps if I advance near Brussels. I think the unit that retreated we could probably get, but I think we'll hold off on that. I don't like force marching them. Their morale takes a big hit, but I don't want to have a gap in the front line either, so that probably makes sense. So we destroyed a unit in the north, we destroyed a unit near Brussels, or no, in the Ardennes, and then we damaged a unit near Brussels badly. We'll see how aggressively they want to counterattack. Probably depends how many units they have in reserve out here. Quite a few headquarters. Maybe not as many infantry as you would think. They gotta have something in Antwerp. Can we do a... Yeah. Nice, okay. So we were able to do a seaplane reconnaissance there with our ships over Antwerp. We can see there's an enemy corps in place. Okay. Alright, I think that's it for the Western Front this turn. I don't think I'm sending anything from Britain either. I suppose we could send a detachment, but... Would we want to advance these guys into this open ground? Would it make them... It would technically make them slightly more exposed. But it would shorten our front. No, not really. It'd be 2 units into 2 open axes. Wouldn't really shorten our front at all. Meanwhile, the troops in front of Belgrade are not in good shape. Alright, so they got 3 German corps that are going to be assaulting Belgrade. I feel like our best hope is to weaken the enemy troops to their front. Okay. We can't even advance there without abandoning Belgrade. All those entrenchments in Belgrade are going to go for naught anyway, because the enemy's going to end up attacking with artillery and bombarding them into nothingness. Okay. Can we move this guy here? It'd be nice if we could. Because it's tempting to try and destroy that Austrian corps over here. Okay. I don't think Serbia is going to last. If he's committing 3+ German corps to the Serbian front, I don't think Serbia is going to last long. Okay. Meanwhile, the Austro-Hungarian front in Russia. He's pulling these guys back into the mountains. Is this Premzel? Maybe we can scout Premzel. I think it reduces their entrenchment by 1. Okay. Oh, I was hoping I could attack. Right. These guys really can't move down there? Okay. God damn it. We attacked Krakow aggressively. And all we did was expose ourselves to potential enemy counterattacks. I think we burned through all our Russian money trying to pull reinforcements forward. Could we try and push forward on Königsberg? Probably not. Probably wouldn't be wise, at the very least. The casualties probably wouldn't be worth it. Okay. Yeah, we'll do this. It'll shorten our front line a little bit. Well, actually won't change our front line, like, at all. I'm doing the Western Front two-step. 1 hex at a time, forwards. Okay. So we advanced along the whole front line. The entire front line in Eastern Prussia is now occupied by by full corps size units. We could move into Allenstadt, take that back from the Germans. That's worth a 2 MPPs. It isn't worth nothing, but... I'm being cautious. Well, so much for being cautious. I don't have any defenses there. Okay. So we damaged the enemy troops in front of Katowice. They're just a detachment, but beat them up pretty badly. Can't really afford to send troops from north of Lutz because they probably have troops at Posen. They were at 46 units before this turn. They're at 45 now. I do feel that our Russian troops are a little bit exposed to considerable enemy counterattacks. This corps, at least the cavalry corps, is not going to be attacking us. I don't think the 6th Corps will either. He could attack with either the 7th or the 10th. Those are at full strength. Actually, let's do this. There you go. Finished off that enemy cavalry corps. I could see counterattacks from the flanks of Krakow where he's got German corps in position. This cavalry moving down here is threatening to flank and surround Przemysl. Okay. So Przemysl was beaten up a bit, but they held and did quite a bit of damage. Krakow didn't do much damage, but they held. And they've got strong units on the flank. Katowice is at least being pressed, so I don't know where. Maybe he'll pull troops away. And then the advance in Eastern Prussia's got to at least keep his eyes open on, you know, how much does he... How much does he want to do? Meanwhile, I'm going to put these guys in port near Memel. But, like, how much does he feel he can move away from Königsberg with such a large force in Eastern Prussia? Frankly, I probably should have reinforced against the Ottomans. I'm just hoping that they won't be able to push too far due to lack of supplies. We probably should also blockade uh-oh. Like, I don't want to completely abandon the... Fuck. Alright, I nearly got this armored cruiser destroyed by running into mines. But I don't think he's going to be reinforcing the Ottoman fleet. Given his own... I'm assuming given his own issues reinforcing his troops with all the losses the Austrians have taken. What's So Russia's national morale is at 91%. I think a big piece of that's losing cars to the Ottomans. The Austrians are down to 76, however. Germany is at 93. France, 92. Britain, 98. France has 200 points left. We're probably going to have to reinforce a good chunk next turn for the French. So what can we spend on research? We should do infantry warfare, I think. Maybe actually we've got 200. Let's do one for gas. And then let's do infantry. Maybe command and control? Yeah, let's do infantry. The British, meanwhile, have 120 left. They're already working on infantry. They're already working on trench. I would guess gas is worthwhile. But maybe actually infantry instead. We'll do gas on another turn. Americans can start researching next turn. My fear is that the Gubin comes out of Constantinople and tries to hit our battle cruisers here. That'll be at full strength and we won't be. But we do have a near full strength Jean Bart back there to help. I don't think the Austrians have any more dreadnoughts. I think they just have these pre-dreadnoughts, so blockading them with French pre-dreadnoughts is probably sufficient. Fuck. No! Well, there's the Gubin. They just sank a frickin' half-strength dreadnought of ours. Alright, I don't think the Germans are going to do anything quite yet. I don't think the Ottoman fleet's stronger than what we have here. The problem is we're all at like half strength. Fortunately, we battered the Austrians enough. But I don't think, like, even their armored cruisers here are at half strength. But the loss of that French frickin' dreadnought, that's why upgrading him makes sense, because a single bad hit or moving in, yeah. But anyway, he's obviously trying to block Gallipoli by putting his dreadnought there. Okay, this blockade shipping out of Zonguluk. I think he's trapped out of the Dardanelles without moving past us. So we'll at least blockade that guy. Maybe we'll reduce the supply in the Caucasus too. Alright. I can't believe we lost a dreadnought to frickin' Blag. There's something bloody wrong with our ships today. Alright, we got 21 MPPs left for the British. Send one of the pre-dreadnoughts also to the Med. Where did... Oh, she's down there. There's her course down there. And then a French armored cruiser. I might be taking too much strength out of the North Atlantic if he is going to make a play there, but we'll see. Meanwhile, I really want to know how to move mines. There's got to be a way you can move your own mines, right? Just seems kind of silly. The Russian fleet to be bottled up because of my own incompetence. Well, maybe that's fitting. I don't know. I don't know. If I move through this, it might sink them. Alright, I think I moved through my own minefield okay. Alright, well, we're pressing Königsberg, at least in terms of proximity. We, in theory, could start working on some of these detachments without too much risk. Next turn, he does have cores adjacent to it. We also are pressing heavily Krakow, but I'm guessing the Austrians are going to get flank support from the Germans, or they'll just swap the defenders out for the Germans. Przemysl also is under pressure, although the Austrians have mostly fallen back into the mountain passes in front of it. The Ottomans have entered the war and have already made a decisive impact by sinking a half-strength French dreadnought with the Sultan Osman, the former German battle cruiser Goeben, which is blocking Gallipoli from being landed at easily by our own troops. He obviously sees Gallipoli as vulnerable. Meanwhile, we are building up in the Sinai, hopefully, to be able to fight the Ottomans down there. That's the situation we find ourselves in as we wrap up the December 5th, 1914 turn. Let's see if there's any events. The Royal Navy defeats von Spee at the Battle of the Falklands. That'll be nice. We'll get a 500 MPP for that. Invincible is crippled while defeating von Spee. So Invincible will be damaged, and if we get it back, it'll be a while. We currently have 2 British-built liners belonging to the Russian Steam Navigation Trading Company, which are suitable for conversion to seaplane carriers. The work can be undertaken at Sevastopol and will cost us 50 MPPs for 2 turns. Sure, I don't like wasting Russian money, but Przemysl is under siege. The garrison morale is reduced. Anzac arrives in Egypt. Yay, an overstrength corps to help with the Ottomans. Russia blockades shipping out of Zongolsk. A typhus epidemic breaks out in Serbia. No, that is not what I need. Right on the verge of the Germans attacking. At least Belgrade wasn't hit. And they're raiding our convoys. Meanwhile, we're blockading them. Okay. And it's winter now. Maybe that'll slow their offensive. Who knows? Alright, well, I expect to lose Belgrade next turn. Russian morale is a little bit lower than I had hoped. Again, we lost cars. That was probably at least worth 5%. And the French losing that battleship really hurt. But that's going to do it for today's turn and today's video. I hope you guys are enjoying this series. Please leave your thoughts at my own ineptitude below. And until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out.